Bear Academy.
When she arrives at the Sakisaka house, Omi first takes a deep breath to calm herself. Her anger does not vanish entirely, of course, but at least now she can hear herself think. While waiting for a response from the intercom, she looks over the patch of yard that she can see from outside the gate. Even Omi isn't normally one to complain about other people's housekeeping, but this is going too far. The grass is growing wild and there are piles of dead leaves scattered everywhere. It doesn't just look untended, it looks like an uninhabited ruin. Man, you need a drink. Stay hydrated. It's still light out, but every window has its storm shutters tightly sealed. Omi guesses that they've been closed since morning. What kind of life is Fuminori leading? Even if he's living alone, he can't neglect his housework forever. And is it just her imagination, or does something stink like rotten meat? It couldn't be coming from the yard, could it? No, it's coming from inside, because it's Saya. There's still no response, so she presses the buzzer a second time, and a third and a fourth. Finally, after this has gone on for over 10 minutes, Omi loses her patience and opens the cover of the intercom. As she expected, the power has been disconnected. Perhaps Fuminori has a good reason for shutting out the world, but Omi can only see it as a lack of respect for others. Her anger rekindled, she pushes the gate open and stops through the yard to the front door. Given the state of his intercom, she doubts that Fuminori will respond to a knock. So Omi decides to just open the door and go in shouting. And if the door is locked, she'll just have to... Surprisingly, the doorknob turns easily in her hand, and the enraged Omi finds herself throwing the door open wider than she intended. Her nostrils are instantly assaulted by a choking stench. What is that smell? As Omi stands petrified on the threshold, the cowbell hanging on the inside of the door chimes loudly. A moment later... Welcome home. Omi can't believe her ears. The voice she just heard could not have been human. Yet, its intonations were too complex of any animal she can imagine. Is someone there? She calls out to the end of the hallway from which the voice came. There is no response. Instead, she hears the sound of something soft and wet flopping its way deeper into the house. Ugh. Finding it difficult to place a meaningful image to the voice she just heard, Omi stares blankly at the empty vestibule. How do you pronounce that word? Vestibule? There's nothing there. Not even Fuminori's shoes, which can only mean that he's still outside somewhere, wearing them. The house should be empty. But then what was that voice just now? Her anger has vanished as if it were never there. Nevertheless, Omi sets foot into the hallway, leaving the door open so that the cowbell won't ring. The floor creaks, setting her nerves on edge. Omi isn't sure why she's acting like a burglar, but something tells her to make a little noise as possible. The potency of the stink inside the house makes the whiff she caught outside pale in comparison. It's sickening, like rotting fish guts. Has food been left to spoil in the kitchen? She hears a bubbling sound up ahead. Stepping gingerly on the creaking floorboards, Omi makes her way to the end of the hallway. She finds rooms to both sides of her, one lit, the other dark, and chooses to look to the lit room. It's the kitchen, lit by what must be the only window in the house not covered by a storm shutter. The sound she heard was the pot boiling on the stove, and on the chopping board next to it lie a butcher's knife and some half-diced carrots. A perfectly normal household scene, with the light of the setting sun making everything the color of decomposing fruit. Oh, Saya wants to cook. How nice of her. Something is wrong. Who was cooking here, and where did they go? Is anyone here? Omi calls, regretting it immediately as she realizes that her voice is shaking. As her words echo vainly through the silent house, she begins to feel foolish and defenseless. Suddenly, she feels something cold seeping through her pantyhose. She timidly reaches down to touch her feet. Her fingertip come away covered with a viscous olive green slime, like the filthy water from a tank long clogged with algae and dead fish. The whole floor is covered with it. It must be a salted stench. Omi now wishes that she had worn the shoes inside, manners be damned. When she looks back ruefully the way she came, she realizes that her current position is not visible from the entrance. This kitchen must be where that strange voice came from. The next room is probably the den. As she expected from the closed storm shutters, it's pitch black inside. Omi wants nothing more than to flee this house, but that would mean turning her back to the darkness, and that she simply cannot bring herself to do. Moved by some irrational compulsion, Omi sets foot into the den. Den? That's a strange way to call the living room, I assume. It is too dark to see anything, and the stink is far worse than before. She slides her hand along the wall, feeling for the light switch. Finding it much sooner than she expected, she flips it on, like it's her last hope. Colors. The colors. So many colors. The purple of entrails, the brown of rotten meat, the crimson of fresh blood, the yellow of fat. These colors, and more that cannot be described, cover every inch of the room in maddening array. The colors say all that needs to be said about the painter's hatred, malice, and insanity. Umi's legs give out from the shock, sending to the floor. Slime immediately soaks through her jeans. Its cold tendrils creeping up her legs, crotch, and her neck. Her hand flies to her neck, where it is greeted by another drop of chilly slime. Above her, something is dripping down on her head. Oh, leave her alone, Saya. Making perhaps the worst decision of her life, Omi looks up. The predator clinging to the ceiling, poised to leap upon its prey. She sees it in every detail. Oh, crap. Her mouth and nose is sealed before she can scream, and her belly is torn open as something enters to feast on her innards. Oh. I liked her. Come on, Saya, was that really necessary? By the time she feels any of this, Omi has already gone mad. And don't tell me Saya's gonna use Omi's body to make soup or something. I bit the bullet and tried to take the train, but the rush hour crowds were so bad that I had to get off halfway and walk. I'm running pretty late. Is Saya worried? I hope she's not mad. When I enter the yard, I realize that the front door has been left wide open. Light from the living room is seeping out into the hallway, and I hear what sounds like someone smacking their lips. There's also a tantalizing fragrance in the air. Is it Saya? I consider calling out to her, but decide to enter its silence instead. Something smells strange, though not unpleasant. The aroma is quite soothing, in fact. It reminds me of Saya's hair. At first I'm surprised by what I see in the living room. The floor is covered with what looks like some kind of grass, probably the source of the herb-like smell. And there are fruit or vegetable-like balls of varying sizes scattered everywhere. Oh, yeah. It is totally reversed. Everything that normal people perceive as normal, he sees as grotesque, and with everything that a regular person perceives as grotesque, he sees as normal or pleasant. So the grass on the floor is Yo's blood, and the fruit and all that is... it's her entrails, I assume, and her corpse. Saya? Saya turns around, her eyes wide with surprise. She then looks away sheepishly, like a child caught on some prank. What are you eating? This is, well, she stammers, so flustered that I suddenly feel bad for sneaking up to her. Remembering that she has never eaten in front of me before, I realize that she must be quite embarrassed. Ah, she's just enjoying the delightful snack, just some fruits. Can I have one? I scoop up the closest fruit thing and pop it into my mouth, ignoring Saya's attempt to wave me off. No, don't eat your friend. It has a strange texture, soft and pliable, like a peach or a pear. Oh. When I bite into it with my back teeth, a succulent juice fills my mouth, combined with a sharp, strong fragrance. It's like unlike anything I've ever tasted. You are eating human flesh. How did you make this? What did you use? It wasn't hard, I just took it apart and melted it a little to make it easier to eat. It's practically raw. Melted it a little bit. Melted it a little bit. That's disgusting. Oh? I pick up a different lump, this one consisting of fruity flesh around the hard core. Oh, but what might that be? Tearing a chunk off into my mouth, I find that this has a similar taste to the last one. Hey, are you okay? That's a... Yeah, even I can eat this. In fact, it's good. Oh no, oh no. Really? At first Saya looks dumbstruck, but then she bursts out laughing. So this is what you like. Now I feel stupid for going to all that trouble. Is this what you always eat, Saya? Yeah, though it's been a while since I've had one so big. I usually catch them in the nearby park. Catch them, yeah, sure, just go to the park to catch some fruit. There's an impressive nature preserve not too far from here. Never heard about fruits like these growing there, but, well, of course. They only look like fruits to me. They're really something else. Does it really not click for you? Are you that dense? Sorry, I already ate the best parts. That's okay, so was next time, and now we can eat together. Yeah. Saya seems really happy. I'm happy too, of course. Eating with someone is much more fun than eating alone, and it makes the food taste better too. There's still plenty left. It'll keep chilled for 2 or 3 days, though it won't taste as good. Then we better start putting it away. Yeah, just put your dead friend in the fridge. Sealing the small fruits in Tupperware, the large ones in pots and bowls. Saya and I store the remaining food in the refrigerator. Thinking of tomorrow's dinner fills me with anticipation. Oh, this game is so messed up, dude. Holy shit. I feel that little by little, I'm starting to regain the joy of living. Saya will guide me. With her, I can live on. Bad influence. Bad influence. True Scary Stories, Hospital Edition. Chapter 4, The Monster in the Hospital. A medical student relates his shocking experiences. Will you believe it him or not? Strange things started happening at the hospital around the end of last spring. It began with patients waking up in the middle of the night screaming. They all spoke of terrifying nightmares, and many of them had to be sedated. Some patients even transferred to other hospitals because of it. The weird thing was that they all had exactly the same dream. A dream about some horribly disgusting monster staring down at them from the bedside. But the really strange stuff started happening after that. There used to be a lot of stray cats around campus looking for scraps from students. One day the cats suddenly disappeared, and it wasn't that they stopped coming. It was more like they'd vanished from the area entirely. Oh, Saya, you eating cats? Come on. At least eat like pigeons or something. And then people stopped walking their dogs around. According to rumors, the dogs were refusing to go anywhere near the school. Eventually things started going missing in the hospital. Organs to be precise. Oh, Saya, you snacking on them... You snacking on them... donor organs? Transplant organs kept disappearing from storage. People came close to losing their job over it. And it wasn't just 2 or 3 times that it happened. They tried to keep it from the students, but we heard it was a lot worse than that. People started saying that there was something living in the hospital. The janitors would find strange messes that could only have been made in the middle of the night. Traces of something that had crawled down the hallway, or weird stains caused by something dripping through the ceiling. Did nobody notice Saya's smell? Well, this game should be called The Stench of Saya. The late shift nurses talked about hearing strange noises on the same nights that patients woke screaming. There's one last story, one you can never mention inside the hospital. One day, the obstetrics department went crazy. Okay, what's obstetrics? I don't know. They said that a newborn had disappeared in the night. Man, Saya's even snacking on newborns? If that were true, the police would have come and it wouldn't be all over the news. But they say the big shots managed to make it all go away. It's just a rumor, of course. These strange incidents suddenly stopped toward the end of summer. Now there are almost no patients complaining about nightmares, and the cats have started coming back to campus. Yeah, because that's when Saya made friends with, what's his name? But still, what happened at the hospital that summer? Even though just thinking about it gives me the creeps. Nothing. This is the 3rd day in a row that I haven't been able to get in touch with Omi. There's no sign that she returned to her apartment, and even her family doesn't know anything. Her parents have already filled a missing persons report. Well, you know her, she'll probably just pop up somewhere like nothing happened. I hope so, Yo replies with a gloomy expression. She's worried about Omi, of course, but the incident with Fuminori 3 days ago must still be weighing on her as well. Yo hasn't seen Fuminori since then, and Fuminori hasn't made any effort to approach her, or Koji. 4 people used to meet in this cafeteria between classes, but now there are only 2. Hey Koji, let's keep thinking. Isn't there somewhere Omi might have gone? No, Koji answers evasively. I already checked everywhere. It's a lie, of course. Koji knows where Omi planned to go that evening, but he doesn't want to bring Fuminori up in front of Yo. Oh, come on. She went to Fuminori's house and didn't return for 3 days. That's a little sus, don't you think? Their awkward silences mercifully broken by the bell signaling the start of the next period. Well, I've gotta go. Yeah. Unless Koji's mistaken, Yo's supposed to have class next period too, but she just sits there, staring off into space. Unable to come up with anything, the Say, he leaves the cafeteria reluctantly. Both Omi's disappearance and Yo's depression worry Koji, and both problems lead back to the exact same place. What the hell is Fuminori doing? When Omi went missing, the first thing he did was question Fuminori. After all, the last time he'd seen her was just before he stormed off to give Fuminori a piece of her own mind. Fuminori responded with unequivocal denial, and acted like he hadn't the slightest idea why Omi would have gone to see him. Perhaps that was only natural, as he was unaware what Omi and Koji had witnessed him reduce Yo to tears. Did Omi even make it to Fuminori's house? She had been riding a wave of emotion when she had left, and might have calmed down and changed her mind halfway there. Or perhaps she ran into trouble on the way. Koji concluded, or more accurately convinced himself, that one of these possibilities was the truth, subconsciously denying the one remaining possibility, that Fuminori was lying, that he had met Omi and was involved with her disappearance. When questioned by the police, Koji told the truth about Omi's destination only up to the train station, maintaining that he had no idea where she'd planned to go after that. He wanted to cooperate with the search, of course, but Omi couldn't have made it to Fuminori's house. Fuminori said to himself, didn't he? In that case, he told the police everything they needed to know. Not wanting to get the still fragile Fuminori involved, he forced himself to accept this flimsy logic. But the conflict has built up inside of him without his notice, leaving unanswered suspicion to fester in his mind. Koji is deep in thought, paying no attention to his surroundings, but perhaps that is what allows him to catch sight of his friends back through the crowd of milling students. Stop staring at me. Fuminori? At first Koji assumes that he's headed to the lecture hall, but it soon appears that he is instead going home. Strange, medical students have required courses in the afternoon. Though he's initially surprised, Koji's hesitation lasts for only a second. He follows his friend, taking care to stay far enough behind that he won't be noticed. Fuminori wasn't going home, as became obvious when he boarded a train heading to the opposite direction. Koji's next guess was that he was going to see his doctor at the T University Hospital, but Fuminori rode straight through the closest station. Where is he going? At first Koji felt ashamed for tailing his friend like this, but this conscience fell silent as Fuminori's actions grew more mysterious. The stranger it gets, the closer Koji feels to discovering the truth behind Fuminori's sudden transformation. Any knowledge would be welcome, no matter how slight. Even Koji is beginning to think that there must be more behind Fuminori's change than the accident alone. He wants a more satisfying answer, one that will help him decide whether Fuminori can still be trusted. Fuminori gets off at a small station in a nondescript suburb of Tokyo. Koji follows, trying not to lose sight of him and amid the other disembarking passengers. What are you talking about, bro? The train was empty. The area is quite desolate, with only a small bookstore, convenience store, and a market in front of the train station. It is easy for Koji to keep Fuminori in view. The neighborhood was carved out of the Fuji foothills, and here and there remain steep inclines and wooden areas that escape assimilation. Koji is amazed that such a quiet place exists less than an hour out of central Tokyo. Fuminori seems to know these streets. He moves quickly and purposefully through the suburban community, his eyes fixed straight ahead. The place is nice. Before long, Fuminori reaches a house. Without ringing the bell or even knocking, he opens the door and vanishes inside, leaving Koji to wonder how Fuminori can treat the house as his own. After waiting to see if Fuminori comes back out, Koji approaches the gate and checks the nameplate. Ogai, it reads. Ah. Koji has never heard of anyone by that name among Fuminori's acquaintances. Next, his attention is drawn to the thick wad of leaflets sticking out of the mail slot. This, coupled with the general dilapidated feel of the place, suggests that it has been abandoned for some time. A small playground about 2 blocks away provides an adequate vantage point from which to watch the front of the Ogai home. Fortunately, it does not appear to be the sort of house that has a rear exit. Koji settles down on a bench to begin a stakeout. I should have brought more smokes. 1 hour passes and then another, but there remains no sign of movement around the Ogai residence. Soon twilight settles upon the neighborhood. After Koji's 1 pack of cigarettes runs out... Did you seriously smoke a whole pack of cigarettes in an hour? Or like 2 hours? The stakeout becomes a battle against mounting impatience. He kills time by redialing Omi on his cell and sending her short text messages, but his efforts are futile, as he knew they would be. When the sky begins to turn deep blue and the streetlights come on, Fuminori finally emerges from the house and heads back towards the station with the same hurried stride. After some brief consideration, Koji decides that right now, investigating the house is more important than tailing Fuminori. Oh, what you gonna find in there? Please don't get killed yourself. He rings the doorbell just to make sure. After receiving the expected silence in response, he checks to make sure no one is watching and turns the doorknob. The door's not locked. Oh, what a fool! The moment he enters the house, stale air thick with mold and dust fills Koji's nostrils. It is the unmistakable smell of a house that has long laid untouched. There's also a faint hint of something else in the air, something reminiscent of damp sewers and fetid cisterns. Flipping the light switch does nothing. The power must be cut off. What was he doing in there? Koji uses a cigarette lighter to illuminate the immediate area. In the thick dust covering the floor, he sees several brand new trails of footprints that could only have been made by shoes. Fuminori's. Koji decides to follow suit and dispense with courtesy. He enters with his shoes on. You don't want to step into any mucus. Like Omi did. I'll also have another sip. Stay hydrated. Delicious. The lighter's flickering flame pushes back the deathly silence and gloom of the house. Koji is surprised to see evidence of life remaining. Everything from furniture to tableware and appliances, nothing seems to be missing. The thickness of the dust suggests that the house has been empty for several months, which means that the owner must have left with little more than the clothes on his back. Could he have gone on a long vacation? The calendar in the den is still turned to April. Yeah, den, so I guess that's just what these people call living rooms? I don't know. Empty and silent, yet still exhibiting signs of the life that was once lived there. The house reminds Koji of a passenger ship entombed at the bottom of the sea. In the graveyard-like quiet, a sinister thought suddenly enters his mind. No one is living here, but that does not have to mean that the owner left. Maybe he was murdered and his rotting corpse is right under Koji's feet. He finds himself wanting a stronger light. A flashlight in his hand would make him feel much better. Damn, if only smartphones were invented. Koji follows Fuminori's footsteps to the second floor, where he begins to catch the scent of paper in the stale air. It's the smell of old books, instantly recognizable to anyone who has worked in an antique bookstore or library. The first room on the second floor turns out to be a study. Its towering shelves packed with such vast numbers of books that Koji fears for the stability of the floor. As a medical student himself, he's able to discern at a glance that his study belongs to a medical professional, and a high-level one at that. Judging by the content of the books, what the hell is that word? A smorgasbord? It's a funny word. A smorgasbord of technical volumes far beyond a simple student's understanding. The owner's interests lie more with medical research than with clinical practice. Fuminori must have spent most of his time here. The scattered dust suggests that he was searching for something, and the contents of the desk drawers are in obvious disarray. A small pile of books stacked on the side table catches his eye. Being next to the desk, they must have been the more frequently read. Their nature could shed some light on the character of the person who worked here. Koji frowns as he examines the 3 books. These aren't scientific texts like the rest, but old leather-bound western tomes like the sort you would find in a rare bookstore. The titles are meaningless to him. Something French appears to concern semiotics, but Ars Magna et Ultima is some kind of treatise on divination? And then there's the Voynich manuscript, which looks like some sort of picture book. When he pages through it, he finds the text utterly incomprehensible. Maybe it's some kind of cipher. Whatever they are, they clearly have nothing to do with medicine, refuting Koji's earlier guess what this old guy was a doctor. Looking down, Koji suddenly notices a glint of something black and metallic underneath the chair. A pocket-sized flashlight. Oh, that's handy. Quite out of place among all these dusty books. Fuminori must have brought it in. With relief, Koji exchanges his lighter for the flashlight. Its tiny body emits a powerful white beam that casts away the darkness. His courage restored, he decides to explore the rest of the house. Koji notices something strange, something that was not visible in the light speaker flame. The slime. Ugh. Dark, oily stains are everywhere. The stains are especially thick around the doorknobs and stair banisters, like someone grasped them with hands wrapped in greasy cloth. So is this doctor still around, and has he also become a flesh monster? Looking closer, he sees places where slime was splashed low on the walls, almost as if a wet mop was run violently across the floor. Huh. Could Ogai have made these marks? If so, how? Koji begins to feel sick as he imagines a man shambling through the house with slime dripping from his body. Finding the bedroom next to the study, Koji checks the closet on a hunch. He discovers 2 empty suitcases, not what one would leave behind when going on a long vacation. A sudden chill runs through him. Whoever was living here is still somewhere inside the house. But he is mutated. Suppressing the urge to flee, Koji goes back downstairs to check the first floor. Oh, you're gonna get yourself killed, Koji. Not you as well. If he finds a corpse, he'll have to call the police right away. He might get away with trespassing if he reports it first. But if they find the body later, it'll be awfully hard to explain his fingerprints all over the house. The flashlight reveals the den to be covered in even more slime than the rest of the house. The sofa looks as though it was drenched from the bottom of a swamp. In the kitchen, Koji takes one look at the sink and decides not to get any closer. He doesn't want any more fuel for his imagination. Make sure to check the fridge. Maybe there's some fruit in there. He reaches the door to the bathroom. A common scene from TV dramas flashes through his head, a body with slit wrists floating in a bathtub full of water. And wasn't there a movie where a hitman disposes his victim in a bathtub full of lye? Koji braces himself for the worst and opens the doors slowly, then shines his light into the ceramic bathtub that appears from the darkness like a white ghost. Okay, nothing in there. Oh, bones. A mountain of bones, black with dry flesh and blood. Okay. Koji puts one hand against the wall and steadies himself as his legs threaten to buckle. Something is wrong, he realizes as he tries desperately to get his thoughts in order. The bones are too small and there are too many of them. They aren't human. Animal bones? Oh, something's gonna appear behind him. After taking several deep breaths to calm himself, Koji enters the bathroom and examines the tub. The bones are piled atop each other like fallen leaves. They appear to be from small animals, perhaps cats or dogs. Even so, the quantity is mind-boggling. How many bodies would it take to produce this many bones? The bones have all been separated from one another, so it doesn't look like bodies were just thrown into the tub and left to rot. Each bone is covered with deep grooves, marks left by teeth biting through flesh. Koji said he won't let him consider the possibility that a human could have done this. The owner of this house must have kept some sort of carnivorous animal as a pet, giving it the bones of a small animal to eat and disposing of the remains in the bathtub. Yeah, I don't think so. But if it makes you feel better. But why not dispose of the leftovers properly? They could have just been thrown out of the garbage. Or was there something keeping him from leaving the house? The relief Koji felt when he realizes that the bones weren't human is once again under attack. In the first place, what the hell was Fuminori doing here? Hi, Fuminori. What's wrong, Koji? Koji was around, his light revealing Fuminori's expression on his face. You're trespassing. So are you, Koji replies, barely managing to speak over the pounding of his heart. Fuminori pushes past Koji and looks into the bathtub. He doesn't even flinch at the sight of the bones. A friend of mine lives here. I'm just running an errand. Oh, what? Who is this person? Where did you meet them? Koji doesn't want to believe that the old friendly Fuminori could have had contact with the denizens of this house. I'll introduce you one of these days, he says, turning to leave without even a glance at Koji. I owe her my life. So Saya lives here? But doesn't Saya live at Koji's house? Hey, Fuminori. Koji runs after Fuminori. His heart is finally beating normally again. Wait, is this friend of yours the reason you've been acting so strange? Standing in the entrance, Fuminori glances coldly at Koji over his shoulder. The utter lack of emotion in his eyes gives Koji a pause. You followed me, didn't you? Koji swallows. What can he say? You're starting to bother me, Koji. Don't do it again. Fine. Fuminori walks away without another word, leaving Koji alone in the entrance. Up until this very moment, concern for his friend was still at the forefront of his mind. Now, however, that concern is swiftly giving way to a growing sense of dread. Does the Fuminori he knew no longer exist? Was the person who just stared Koji down an imposter wearing Fuminori's skin? I don't know, seems kinda sus to me. Koji has begun to believe that it might be so.
almost despair life.